Miraculously revealed. 12 chosen ones experienced divine healing like never before. In the quaint village of Everglen, a divine spectacle was on the cusp of unfurling, one that would shake the very foundations of faith. The vibrant community gathered at St. Jude's chapel, hearts united in hope as whispers of miracles buzzed through the air like fireflies. A hush fell as the pastor declared a service that would invite 12 chosen individuals to share their testimonies of healing, a phenomenon electrifying enough to ignite the spirit of even the most doubtful. The anticipation was thick, each soul present holding a flickering candle of prayer. Among the congregation sat Sarah, a devoted single mother, whose spirit had been tested like iron in the flames. Her son, Gabriel, was in desperate need, battling a life-threatening illness that dimmed his typically bright smile. The very fabric of her faith was woven into nightly prayers, whispered softly as they clung to the shoulders of St. Jude, the saint of lost causes. "Please, let us witness a miracle," she begged, feeling each word as weight as the first of the 12 testified. A profound stillness enveloped the chapel. A woman named Lydia spoke of a tumor that had vanished overnight, as though swallowed by a divine light. Gasps erupted from the crowd, eyes shimmering with tears of joy. A man named Thomas shared how he was once bedridden, but now stood tall, his cancerous shadows erased. The air burst with energy. Hearts skipped, captivated by the power of faith manifesting right before their eyes. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As each shared testimony drew the congregation deeper into divine mystery, Sarah struggled to quiet her racing heart. Doubts flickered like shadows in the recesses of her mind, yet the fervent prayers around her lifted her spirit. The chapel thrummed with a pulsating energy that seemed to weave through the crowd, igniting an inferno of hope. Just then, the lights dimmed, and an ethereal glow enveloped the altar, casting a heavenly aura upon the gathered. An undeniable presence filled the room, like warm rays of sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling tears slip down her cheeks, her spirit aching to believe. Voices whispered around her, full of awe and reverence. "This is something greater than us," someone murmured, and a collective heartbeat pulsated with anticipation. In that sacred moment, Sarah's spirit soared. Could this be it? She thought, tears mixing with a rush of hope. As the pastor invited silence, Sarah's hands tightened in prayer. She longed for a sign, any sign that Gabriel's healing was on the horizon. Would this heavenly light illuminate their path? Her anxious heart steadied itself, waiting for the unfolding of God's wondrous plan. Would their prayers break through the chaos, revealing a miracle yet to come? With every soul around her tapping into the divine energy, her resolve strengthened, even as her heart secretly wondered what lay ahead for her beloved boy. As the atmosphere thickened with divine anticipation, the pastor raised his hands, inviting the congregation to join in prayer. The prayers swelled like waves crashing upon the shore, their voices intertwining, seeking a connection with the sacred. Each plea, every whisper carried forward in the lifting hands and glowing hearts, beckoning the heavens. Across the sea of faces, Sarah felt a fierce unity of spirit around her. The experience was not just her own. It belonged to everyone in that chapel. Hope surged in her chest, a thin line bridging her doubts with the promise of miracles. She clenched her eyes shut tighter, as if opening them might sever the bond that was forming. Then, like a gentle breeze stirring the stillness, a soft yet powerful voice broke through the reverent silence. "I need you to look around and truly see," the pastor said, his tone commanding but warm. "In this very moment, look around you and acknowledge the power of faith alive within us." With hesitant resolve, Sarah opened her eyes. As she scanned the room, she saw more than just faces. She saw the reflection of each soulless struggle, a tapestry woven from pain, hope, and tenacity. The elderly women's hands trembled, but their smiles radiated strength. The children clutched their parents, eyes wide with innocent faith. Hearts were exposed, raw and honest in their collective yearning for healing. And in that moment, something shifted within her. A deep-rooted understanding began to blossom, a revelation that true miracles weren't solely physical but also spiritual, transforming hearts and minds. She felt the weight of her worry for Gabriel lift slightly, replaced by an overwhelming sense of belonging. God is here, her heart whispered, echoing the thoughts of many. We are here together. The pastor continued, recounting stories from the Bible of the miraculous, how Jesus healed not just the sick, but the paralyzed from doubt, the blind from despair. Each word resonated, sending ripples of divine energy through the congregation. As he spoke, Sarah visualized angels bringing healing, their wings casting light upon Gabriel's frail form. When the pastor suddenly paused, silence wrapped the room once more. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Now, I want each one of you to draw close to the Lord, he urged. In your heart, speak the name of someone who needs healing. Let your faith infuse their spirit with life. Sarah felt the urgency of the call, her heart pounding like a drum. Gabriel, she breathed, clinging to the name that held her heart. Please, Lord, heal my boy. Tears streamed down her cheeks, mingling with hope. Around her, others echoed names, each voice layering the air with intentions. The power of faith soared, wrapping each soul within its embrace. Suddenly, the ethereal glow brightened, illuminating the chapel with a brilliance that seemed alive. A gentle breeze whispered through the gathered, swirling softly around each of them. Eyes widened, gasps of awe echoed, as it felt like the heavens opened. For Sarah, everything grew still. A presence enveloped her. In that moment, she could have sworn she felt a hand on her shoulder, whispering reassurance directly into her spirit. Trust, it seemed to say, but trust was both a beacon and an abyss. What awaited her at the end of this spiral of faith? Would this divine encounter lead to miracles, or was it merely a fleeting glimpse of hope? As the service reached its climax, the pastor prepared to invite the last of the 12 to share their testimony. Sarah's heart raced with a mix of anxiety and wonder. Would they reveal the secret to the miracle she sought so desperately? The answer hung tantalizingly in the air. As the pastor stepped aside, a hush fell over the chapel. The weight of expectation hung heavily, breaths held in anticipation. The final testimony could change everything. A young man, no older than 25, approached the pulpit. His eyes sparkled with an inner light. The moment he spoke, Sarah felt the energy in the room shift. I was lost, he began, each word laced with the sincerity of experience. I fought battles no one could see. Depression, anxiety. It consumed me. I felt invisible, trapped in darkness. The congregation listened intently, silence weaving through the air like a sacred veil. The young man continued, voice trembling but unwavering. One day I found my way to this very chapel, much like you all are here now. I didn't believe in miracles, he admitted, glancing around the room, but I felt something draw me in. God met me in my despair, he said, eyes shining with tears of gratitude. In this house of faith, I heard the whisper of hope. I prayed for healing, not just for my mind, but for my soul. And in that vulnerability I found strength. It was as if an anchor was thrown into my heart. I could breathe again. A murmur rippled through the audience. Sarah's heart swelled with emotion. She felt a connection to his story, the weight of his words resonating with the struggles she carried for Gabriel. And then, one morning, the young man continued, I woke up to a golden light streaming through my window. It shone upon my face like a warm embrace. It was in that moment of divine warmth that I felt chains breaking, darkness lifting. I realized I was not alone. God was with me. Can you see it? He implored, gesturing towards the congregation. Faith isn't merely believing in miracles. It's the courage to step into the unknown. It's the trust that if God can find me in my depths, He can find you too wherever you may be. He paused, allowing his words to sink into the hearts present. Sarah felt her soul responding, vibrating with new hope. The deep-rooted worry she harbored for Gabriel began to thaw. Each of you holds power within your faith, the man declared, his voice rising with conviction. We don't need to wait for a grand miracle. We just need to believe that healing starts within us first. The realization was profound. For Sarah, it felt like a revelation. Healing did not only come from the outside. It sprouted from the heart, nurtured by faith. Perhaps Gabriel's healing was not just a physical restoration, but a spiritual awakening and opportunity for her son to embrace the strength she had witnessed in that young man. As the testimony came to a close, the pastor returned to the front, his eyes ablaze with purpose. Now, those who wish to receive prayer for healing, come forward. Sarah hesitated at first, but the tugging in her heart urged her to rise. She took a step forward, fueled by hope and the promise of divine potential. With each step, she felt the warmth of faith surrounding her. Others joined her, forming a line like a river flowing toward the source of life. Their spirits intertwined, bridging fears and dreams. As she reached the altar, the pastor raised his hands, inviting the Holy Spirit to pour forth. Sarah closed her eyes, surrendering her heart once more. Lord, she breathed, I trust in your will. I believe in healing. But just as the pastor began to pray, an unexpected sound erupted from the back of the chapel, a voice calling out in urgency, disrupting the holy atmosphere. Wait, I need to tell my story too. Everyone turned, curiosity igniting. Who was this, and what miracle awaited in the unexpected? Sarah felt her heart race again, anticipation blending with an overwhelming sense of hope. What could this new voice reveal? As the voice echoed through the chapel, tension mixed with excitement. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She turned to see an older woman, her face a tapestry of life's struggles and victories. The crinkles around her eyes told stories of sorrow transformed into joy. With a gentle yet firm stride, she approached the pulpit, her presence commanding attention. I'm Miriam, the woman began, her voice steadied by years of faith. And I, too, have walked through the valley of despair. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the congregation, allowing her words to settle in. Just like many of you, I once stood in a place of hopelessness, yearning for the light of dawn to break through my night. The room was still, a sacred hush that felt both comforting and electric. With each word, Miriam painted vivid pictures of her past, the loneliness, the unanswered prayers, the flickers of doubt that whispered in the silence. Yet, as darkness wrapped around her days, a gentle tug at her heart guided her to this very chapel. In that moment, she continued, her hands raised as if offering a gift. I realized I wasn't just searching for a miracle. I was seeking a relationship with the Creator. I poured my heart out here. It was an act of surrender, a leap into the unknown. Sarah felt an undeniable connection to Miriam's words. Her struggles with Gabriel seemed to echo in the struggles of this woman. What if she thought, what if healing is also about surrendering, just as they beautifully explained? I need you all to hear this, Miriam implored, her voice rising in passion. We often seek physical healing, yet so much of our suffering is rooted in the spirit. I prayed not just for my ailments, but for understanding, for peace. And that's when I began to see the light, a warmth flooding my soul. A wave of nods of understanding swept through the audience. There was a palpable energy in the air, a yearning for deeper communion and clarity. Sarah squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, wishing for that warmth to wrap around Gabriel just as it embraced Miriam. When I woke up one morning, Miriam continued, her face glowing. The sun poured through my window, illuminating the shadows within me. In that moment of divine clarity, I realized my healing wasn't merely a personal victory. Her voice softened and grew tender. It was a testament to the goodness of God that could ripple through families, communities, through entire lives. People murmured softly around Sarah, each one touching hearts in their own quiet ways. The pastor's gentle presence hung at the front of the chapel, watching over the unfolding sacred exchange, sensing the Holy Spirit dancing among them. Miracles are often hidden in our willingness to share our burdens, Miriam urged, locking eyes with an array of congregants, and in the love we choose to show others. Faith isn't just about what we receive but what we share. Just then, a flicker of light streamed through a stained glass and illuminated Miriam's face, creating an aura of ethereal presence around her. It was as if heaven leaned in, inviting everyone to hear the echo of their shared faith and connectedness. Sarah felt something shift inside her, a release of the tension she had held for so long. Hope surged within her, awakening something dormant, something powerful. She could see Gabriel in a new light, a light laced with possibility as Miriam concluded her testimony. The air shimmered with divine anticipation. If you too wish to feel that connection, if you seek healing physical or spiritual, engage your faith, and let the Lord guide you forward. With trembling hands, Miriam stepped back, and everyone needed a moment to process her profound words. The pastor, feeling the swelling atmosphere, stepped forward, ready to usher in united prayer and connection. Join me now in prayer, he beckoned, as hearts soared and spirits lifted. But first, is there anyone else who feels compelled to share, anyone who is ready to step into the light of faith? The question lingered in the air, thick with potential. Who among them would rise next to share their story, a story that could ignite faith, hope, and healing in ways they had yet to imagine? A hush fell over the room as the congregation held its breath, caught in the moment. Sarah's heart raced again, but this time it was not just anxiety, there was a growing curiosity, a flicker of courage. All around her, people shifted in their seats, and murmurs of anticipation flowed like a gentle stream through the chapel. Then, a young man rose from the back. His name was David, and Sarah recognized him from many Sunday services but had never spoken to him. His hands trembled slightly as he stepped forward, yet his resolve shone through. "I just want to share," he stammered, and then took a deep breath. "This past year has been tough. I lost my job and fell into despair. I felt abandoned, like God had turned his back on me." He paused, a pained expression crossing his face. "I was angry at myself, at the world. But then I started coming here more often." David's voice gained strength as he continued. "One evening, I came in, feeling utterly defeated. I didn't even know why I was here. But as I knelt in prayer, I felt a warmth, like a gentle hug wrapping around my heart. I wept. I cried out, asking for understanding and for my faith to be restored." The warmth of his words enveloped the room. People leaned in, connecting with his truth, reliving their own moments of vulnerability. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes, resonating with this open sharing of pain. David pressed on. "When I stood up, it was as if a heavy weight had been lifted. In the days that followed, I started to look for work. Instead of anger, I found hope. I met people who helped guide me, counselors from this very church. And soon, I found a job that not only supported me but allowed me to help others. I realized then that my story isn't just mine. It's part of a bigger tapestry woven by his grace." Gasps of approval rippled through the congregation. David stood tall now. The fear that once gripped him had transformed into a beacon of faith. "God doesn't just take our burdens away," he exclaimed, his voice vibrant and full of belief. "He gives us strength to carry them and grace to share them. If you feel lost, don't hesitate to reach out. Seek your community, and remember you are never truly alone." A wave of amens surged like a tide, washing over the chapel, igniting a fire within the hearts of familiar faces. Sarah could feel connections being forged in that sacred space. Spirits intertwining through shared experiences of struggle and triumph. As David stepped back, the pastor smiled warmly, acknowledging the impact of this moment. "Each story shared here is a thread of connection in the fabric of our faith. Miracles happen when we open our hearts to one another." Miriam re-engaged the congregation, her eyes sparkling with reverence. "We are blessed to witness such testimonies. But this is only just beginning. Who else feels led to share?" In the silence that followed, Sarah's heart raced again. She felt the holy tug of the Spirit urging her to stand, to find her voice amid the rest. Could she do it? Could she share her struggles and uncertainties, perhaps healing not just for herself but for others too? As she considered that possibility, a sense of peace settled over her. Her fears began dissipating, replaced by a quiet resoluteness. Maybe surrender was the first step, just like Miriam had taught. "Go on, Sarah," an old friend whispered, eyes shining. The question lingered in her heart. Would she rise and share her truth? What revelations awaited if she took that leap? And would others step forward too, finding their faith rekindled in the process? In that holy moment, the potential for healing was palpable, just waiting to unfold. As Sarah's heart danced with the rhythms of anticipation, she found herself wrestling between fear and faith. The voices of those around her faded, but the gentle stirring within her spirit only grew louder. The warmth that David spoke of wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, coaxing her forward. "This is your moment, Sarah," she whispered to herself, as if trying to ignite the flicker of courage within. And in that space, filled with the sacred breath of hope and understanding, she felt it a gentle nudge, as if the Spirit was urging her to arise. She finally stood. A collective gaze shifted towards her, eyes filled with expectation. The dim light above seemed to shine brighter. "I am not sure where to begin," she stammered at first, her voice quaking slightly. "But I feel like I must share." Taking a deep breath, she dove in. "I've been struggling with feelings of unworthiness. I've doubted my place in this world, comparing myself to others. I often feel like a shadow, where joy and peace seem to shine so brightly for everyone else. I tried to pretend everything was fine, but deep inside, I was longing for a connection. Like David, I felt abandoned." Her eyes glanced to the side, and she noticed Miriam, nodding gently, encouragement emanating from her presence. "But then," Sarah continued, "I began coming to this chapel. Each Sunday felt like returning home, a warm hug from the divine." A shift resonated within her as she spoke. "One day, during prayer, I experienced something I can only describe as an awakening. I opened my heart and surrendered my fears to God. As the tears flowed, I realized I wasn't alone. I felt His love washing over me, pulling me into a community that would uplift me." A murmur of understanding spread among the congregation. Sarah could see her words striking chords with others. Raw emotions reflected back to her like a mirror. "That moment changed everything," she continued, voice growing stronger. "I realized it's okay to be vulnerable, to reach out. Every one of us has our burdens. Yet when we share them, we untangle the threads that bind us. We can be beacons for each other." Amens followed, echoing through the chapel like ripples on water. Eyes sparkled with shared hope and recognition. Sarah felt her heart swell. This was the connection she had yearned for. "And now," she said, her voice a little steadier, "I'm here, not just to share my struggles but to encourage each of you. If you're feeling trapped in pain or loneliness, don't hesitate to reach out or to share. We are a family, and together we are stronger." A beautiful silence enveloped the space, the congregation holding this sacred moment, as if time stood still. The atmosphere was charged with the divine, where hope intertwined with a healing spirit, each heart affirming their connection. Miriam broke the tranquility, her voice melodic and full of spirit. "Thank you, Sarah. Your testimony is a gift. It reminds us that even in our struggles, there is light waiting to break through. Isn't it incredible how we gather to lift each other up? Who else wants to share?" At that moment, Sarah felt a ripple of energy surge through her. Would others feel compelled? The room was now alive with unspoken words of faith. One by one, faces turned from doubt to possibility. Had the floodgates opened, allowing a stream of testimonies to flow? The room was ripe with expectation, the depth of shared stories waiting to be revealed. In this sacred gathering, she grasped a profound truth. Healing was not just personal. It was collective, woven into the fabric of their community. As more individuals rose, a fire ignited within the chapel, tender yet fierce. And so, as voices began to rise, Sarah wondered how many more lives would be touched tonight, what transformations were just around the corner, waiting to unfold. The echoes of faith were just beginning to resonate. As if by divine orchestration, the air in the chapel thickened with anticipation. The soft murmurs transformed into a symphony of hope as others began to share their stories. Each voice, unique and authentic, unfolded a tapestry of struggle and triumph. James, an older gentleman with kind eyes, rose slowly. "I've battled silence for far too long," he began, his voice quaking with emotion. "My wife passed away a year back. I hid my pain behind a smile, pretending to be strong for the sake of others, but inside, I was crumbling. Just the other day, I felt an overwhelming wave of despair." He paused, taking a breath, the vulnerability palpable in the room. "Then I overheard Sarah talking about the importance of community. I came here, and tonight," his voice broke slightly, "tonight I feel your love. I realize I'm not alone." With every word, faint whispers of comfort rippled through the congregation. Sarah's heart fluttered with empathy, a warm light glowing within her chest. It felt like each testimony became a thread, weaving together a fabric of healing in that chapel. After James, a young woman named Naomi stood. "I've been struggling with anxiety. There were nights when I thought I wouldn't survive the darkness. But through prayer and community, I found threads of hope." She looked directly at Sarah. "Hearing you tonight gave me courage. We can't hide our scars. They're a part of our story, part of his story." As the exchange continued, Sarah felt a deep gratitude swell within her. Each shared burden became a collective weight they could carry together. The enormity of their devotion enveloped the space, breathing life into the sanctuary. Then, the unexpected happened. A hush fell over the crowd as they sensed an extraordinary presence. A light, warm and golden, seemed to illuminate the chapel. People exchanged glances, a shared awareness dawning upon them. It was as if they were caught in a moment of divine intersection, where humanity met the sacred. "Be still," whispered Miriam, her voice resonating like a soft bell, urging everyone to embrace the stillness. In the silence, hearts began to align with each other. The sound of breath became a melody of faith. Each person closed their eyes, not out of fear, but in surrender. It was a moment where doubts fell away, replaced by an unwavering assurance that God was with them right there in that holy assembly. With bated breath, Sarah waited. She felt the Spirit moving among them, prompting her to take another step. "I want to ask," she ventured, allowing the question to float in the sacred air. "What if we dare to believe we are all chosen? What if the power to heal grows stronger each time we share our love?" And just as those words hung in the silence, a wave of emotion swept through the room. Tears of joy began to flow, hands intertwined, hearts united, as this bond of community and faith deepened before their eyes. Suddenly, a shout erupted from the back of the chapel. "I believe. I am chosen." A young man rose, radiant, his spirit ablaze. The atmosphere crackled with energy. His proclamation was like a match to kindling. Others followed suit, rising in affirmation, each declaring their worth, their connection to one another and to the divine. In that moment, Sarah knew. Healing wasn't just an individual journey. It radiated from the heart of the community. The chapel, once just a building, had become a sacred vessel, filled with stories, love, and divine light. As the fervor began to subside, Sarah's eyes scanned the room, catching snippets of joy, hope, and healing. What transformations were unfolding? She could hardly imagine how the Spirit would reveal more. But just as she felt the swell of gratitude, a profound thought gripped her heart. What if they not only shared their burdens but also their victories? What would happen next? Anticipation hummed in the air like a symphony of faith, as the congregation wavered on the brink of something extraordinary. What new miracles lay ahead, waiting to be unveiled? The energy in the chapel pulsed with vitality, a vibrant heartbeat of faith. Sarah took a moment, basking in the warmth that enveloped them all. She felt a gentle nudge in her spirit and knew it was time to take another step into the unknown. "Let us not stop here," she said, her voice both calming and encouraging. "What if we take a moment to celebrate our victories together? Let us share not just our burdens, but also the ways we've seen God at work in our lives. Her words hung in the air like a fragrant offering, and the room seemed to breathe in unison, waiting for someone to respond. Encouraged by Sarah's invitation, an elderly woman named Ruth stood with trembling hands clasped at her heart. Years ago, I thought I'd never dance again. My body was weary, and my spirit was heavy. But last month, I found the courage to step out to a community dance at my granddaughter's wedding, and oh, how I danced! It felt like the shackles of my past crumbled. A soft murmur rippled through the crowd as people marveled at her testimony. There it was, a thread of hope woven in her victory. Before long, a man named Thomas, who had sat quietly at the back, stood as his eyes sparkled. I've struggled with addiction, but a year ago, God led me to this very place to find my family again. Every day has been a fight, but it's a fight worth having. I am free, and I owe it all to this community. He raised his hands as joy erupted within him, illuminating his face like the morning sun. Cheers broke out in the chapel as people rose in support, clapping hands and shouting praises. The atmosphere was charged, a powerful chorus of souls recognizing the divine hand at work among them. Then a young couple, Sarah and Luke, held hands tightly as they spoke, their faces glowing with gratitude. We were losing hope in our marriage, Sarah said. But through shared prayers and the teachings here, we found not just healing, but a deeper love than we ever thought possible. Each testimony breathes life into us, Sarah thought, her heart swelling at the depth of love shared in that sacred space. She could see anguish lifting from faces that once bore heavy burdens. They were beginning to believe in their value as beloved children of God. The ripples of faith spread, igniting a series of declarations. A musician in the corner rose and began to play softly on an old guitar, harmonizing with the voices rising in joyful singing. It became a celebration, a sacred dance of victory where every soul felt valued and cherished as the melodies wove through the air. Sarah's gaze caught the flickering candle flames shifting in rhythm, reflecting the energy filling the room. In that moment, hope became tangible. Everyone was lifting each other higher, hearts entwined in the divine tapestry being spun before them. I see it now, Sarah whispered inwardly. We truly are a chosen generation, destined for miracles. We carry each other's burdens. Yes, but tonight, we also celebrate our triumphs. As the final chords rang out and the last notes faded into silence, the sanctuary felt alive with grace. But in the stillness, a question flickered at the edges of Sarah's heart. How would they maintain this momentum beyond these walls? The hour felt sacred, but Sarah knew this was just the beginning. What would happen when they stepped back into the world? How could they take this energy of divine love into their everyday lives? The spark of community and healing they had created needed to flow outward. A beautiful journey awaited them, filled with opportunities to shine his light. The congregation dared to dream as they wondered what awaited them outside these chapel doors. As the last echoes of the music faded, the candles continued to flicker, each flame a silent testimony to the stories woven within the hearts of those gathered. Sarah stood in the stillness, letting the weight of their shared moments sink deep into her soul. She had seen the power of vulnerability transform faces, and she felt that spirit ripple through her, emboldening her spirit. Friends, she began anew, her voice low and steady. This isn't just a moment for us to hold. It's a call to action. Encouragement washed over her as she witnessed nodding heads and eager faces. We have tasted the goodness of God's grace together. Now, let us ensure that those outside our walls experience it too. A spontaneous hum of agreement buzzed in the chapel. Sarah could see eyes wide with anticipation, souls shaking off the burdens they carried. There was an awakening happening, each person leaning in closer to embrace their role in this divine mission. This community, Sarah continued, it's not just for us to bask in during these moments together. It's a wellspring. We have the duty to pour out this love, this healing, into our families, our workplaces, and our neighborhoods. As she spoke, the faces around her transformed. There was a fire igniting within them, a stirring of purpose that felt palpable. Maria, a young mother at the front, piped up, but how, Sarah? How do we take this energy out there? A wise smile crossed Sarah's face. Let us begin with simple acts. A smile for a stranger. A kind word to a neighbor. We could start small, host gatherings, offer support, or even volunteer. Let us share our stories like tonight so others can see what he has done in our lives. An excited murmur swept through the congregation, each person connecting the dots as hearts began to race with possibilities. They saw it, a movement that could ripple far beyond this place. Then, a familiar voice broke through the swelling excitement. It was Thomas again, passion evident in his tone. I'll tell my story in the cafe. There are so many lost souls who need to know they can be free. He could feel a warmth expanding in his chest, a powerful assurance that God's plan was alive in him. The wave of affirmations surged through the group. People began to share their own ideas, brainstorming ways to touch those around them. Ideas flowed. Community cleanups, prayer walks, food drives, and even youth mentoring. Each thought was adorned with the sparkle of hope, every suggestion a thread in a grander tapestry being woven by their collective faith, that as laughter and back and forth exchanged in heartfelt camaraderie. Sarah felt a deeper peace enveloping the chapel. Every note of excitement resonated like the strumming of a guitar. They were crafting a symphony of divine love. Then suddenly, a hush fell over the room. One man, Hank, known for his steely exterior, broke through with a piercing question. But what if we fail? What if this energy runs dry? The room tensed, uncertainty creeping in like shadow, an echo of doubt that had likely held many back before. Sarah stepped forward, her heart open wide. If we fail, we try again. God isn't waiting for perfection. He thrives in our willingness. It's not about us being strong. It's about taking steps in faith together. Slowly, the tension began to fade, replaced by nods of acceptance. There was strength in their frailty, a deep spiritual connection binding them. Hank's brow softened, and he smiled. The fear had begun to dissolve as they reached the crescendo of their planning. Sarah glanced around, seeing the light returning to hopeful faces. This was only the beginning. What awaited them when they infused their everyday lives with the spirit of togetherness? While their hearts raced with anticipation, she felt a new question lingering like sweet incense in the air. How will we know it's working? How will we recognize God moving through us in the world? The chapel sighed deeply as they considered this, each eager heart pondering how to witness his miracles unfold beyond these walls. As the soft light of dawn broke through the stained glass windows, a golden glow enveloped the chapel, signaling a new beginning. The congregation, no longer just a collection of individual struggles, had transformed into a united family, each member connected through shared faith and hope. Sarah stood before her community, her heart brimming with gratitude. Memories of the previous night flooded her mind, and she felt a divine assurance wash over her. Every testimony, every moment of vulnerability and courage was imprinted in her spirit, leaving no doubt that they were on the precipice of something extraordinary. Brothers and sisters, she began, her voice steady with conviction. Last night, we discovered the miracle of community. We witnessed the power of our shared struggles and victories. God met us here. He hasn't done with us yet. A gentle buzz of affirmation rippled through the gathered souls. Sarah could sense the electricity in the air, a potent reminder of the divine presence that had stirred hearts so profoundly. So how do we honor this moment? She continued, her eyes shining bright. How do we carry this energy into our daily lives? Heads nodded, eager for direction. It was as if they understood the gravity of their collective mission. To reach out, not just to each other but to the world that needed this love so desperately. Vibrant discussions ignited. People spoke of visiting local hospitals, offering hands to those in pain, or gathering groceries for less fortunate families. Ideas flowed like the very spirit that gathered them, pouring life into intentions and filling each heart with purpose. Let us start a community revival, urged Maria, a spark evident in her voice. We can invite everyone, the curious, the hurt, everyone who needs to hear what we've heard. A wave of excitement surged through the room, igniting hearts as they envisioned welcoming souls into their new ministry of compassion. And then, from the back, David rose, his spirit aflame. Let us not just revive ourselves. Let us embolden each other to share our journeys in our workplaces and schools. Let our stories become testimonies that instigate hope. Yes. The walls of the chapel echoed with applause. A chorus united in passion and intent. "I can start a prayer group," exclaimed Naomi. "We'll help each other stay steadfast." With each conviction shared, the morning sun poured in brighter, illuminating the chapel in golden hues. It became a hallowed space, glowing with potential, a wind of divine promise rustling through their hearts. Sarah felt a wave of clarity. The Spirit urged her to call those gathered into action. "Let us begin today, right here, right now." In unison, voices of courage and conviction spoke forth. "We are ready. Let us do this." And it was as if the air quivered with excitement, divine energy coursing through each soul as they stepped forward, each stepping out in faith. The pastor, watchful and wise, invited everyone to gather in a circle, hands clasped together. "Families of faith," he said, "the Lord is among us and his plans are greater than we can fathom. Let us pray for our courage, our guidance, and abundant blessings as we step into the unknown." With bowed heads, hearts entwined, they prayed fervently, each voice rising like a sweet incense before the Lord. As they opened their eyes, Sarah felt something significant had shifted within her community. Hope crystallized into determination and purpose. They were chosen, a family knit together by divine threads, sent forth to be light beyond the chapel walls. In the weeks that followed, the community grew in spirit. Laughter, joy, and faith poured outward, touching hearts, such as those in local shelters who found comfort in shared meals, or hospital patients who received genuine visits of kindness. Healing wasn't always dramatic. More often, it was found in simple acts: the gentle embrace of a stranger, or the warm meal delivered unexpectedly. One evening, as Sarah wandered through town, a familiar face approached a mother from the hospital where Gabriel had battled for his life. "Sarah," she said, tears brimming with gratitude, "we've seen a change, a flicker of hope spreading through the children here. They smile more, their burdens feel lighter. It's like the darkness is lifting." Gabriel, now flourishing and engaged, played with friends, laughter spilling from his heart like a melody. Sarah felt tears of gratitude surfacing. What once felt like an isolated struggle transformed into a testimony of collective healing. The spirit of cooperation filled the air, not just within the community but among strangers in shared endeavors. Stories unfolded, interlacing lives in divine synchronicity. The miracles they had prayed for didn't just ripple through their tight-knit group. They extended and transformed the very fabric of their town. As seasons shifted, the chapel became a beacon on Sundays, a sacred gathering for celebration. On weekdays, a sanctuary of compassion and outreach. And through it all, the chorus of faith remained unbroken. Yes, challenges came, moments when despair threatened to creep back in, but now, they were armed with the collective hope that shone brighter than any darkness. Their faith was boundless, anchored by shared experiences. "This is but the beginning," Sarah declared during mornings of hope shared among her neighbors. Their voices, with conviction, became the instruments of love flowing freely. One sacred evening, although time passed and seasons unfolded, a warmth emerged as Sarah stood, calling everyone to join. "Let us keep this fire alive. Let us remind each other we are not alone. Together we are the miracle." And so, the stories continued echoing faith as they reached into their communities, igniting transformation within hearts that dared to believe in miracles lived out through love. As candle flames flickered in the chapel, illuminating the stories of hundreds, a whispered prayer flowed from Sarah's heart. "Lord, thank you for choosing us. We will not take this lightly. We will share the glow of your love." Their lives, a testament to divine healing, intertwined with the joy of serving others, left a legacy of faith amidst the promise of endless possibilities. Sarah smiled, affirming the ripple of miracles yet to come. Together they would shine, illuminating the world. As this story unfolds, may we remember we too are chosen. May we step willingly into the light of faith, sharing our testimonies, hence creating miracles in our lives, and the lives of others, always echoing God's love in everything we do. This is your moment to take action, You need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. Your voice matters, and please share instantly. Reach out and touch at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. This isn't just a story. It's an invitation to live vibrant and purpose-filled lives together. Don't wait even one more second to share.